if we're going to get aluminium from its ore, we have to use electrolysis. The reason why is because aluminium is a reactive metal, and therefore we use electrolysis because we need a lot of energy to remove the oxygen. 1 mark for each of those 2 points. Next, here we've got an example of a reaction. It's a displacement reaction, and it says the equation can be simplified. So this is the full reaction, and then here this has been simplified to this. This is actually called the ionic equation. Explain why this can be described as a redox reaction. So if we have a look at this, first of all, let's pick up on the magnesium. So the magnesium has actually formed a 2+ ion. How does magnesium become a 2+ ion? Let's have a look over here. So for magnesium to form a 2+ ion, it must lose 2 electrons. If it's going to lose 2 electrons, that is an example. Let's write this down first. So magnesium forms a 2+ ion. So we're going to say here that magnesium loses 2 electrons. If we're losing electrons, this is a oxidation reaction. Okay. If we look at the opposite for titanium, so titanium's gone from a 4+ to just titanium. So how do I take something that is 4+ and turn it into something that is just Ti with no charge? We have got to add 4 electrons. So here we can say that the Ti4+ gains 4 electrons. If you're gaining electrons, this is reduction. Remember, what I'm using here to help me is oil rig. Is the oil rig. So oxidation is loss, reduction is gain. So why can be described as a redox reaction? Because both oxidation and reduction happen in the reaction. Okay. All points to do this. If you didn't put the equations in, that's okay. But if you don't put the equations in, make sure you have got these 2 lines each side to get the marks. Okay, we've got sulfate formula, and it wants us to work out the formula for titanium sulfate with a 4+ ion. Let's do a little bit working out just in the middle here. So I've got Ti4+, wanting to make 4 bonds. I've got a sulfate, which is SO4 2-, wanting to make 2. Now before I swap these over, we need to simplify this. That becomes 2 and 1. Then you can cross these over. So titanium gets the number 1, so I just got Ti. The sulfate is going to get a 2. Now be careful here, because sulfate is SO4, but I need 2 of them, so stick it in brackets to get me the 2 that I need, and therefore the only option is option C. Next little bit, phyto extraction is used. Remember, phyto is Greek for plants. This is using plants to extract metals. Give one disadvantage of this process. Well, if we are going to be growing plants to this, the process is a slow process. So you need 1 mark here. Other things you could say here is that you need, in fact, let's turn it the other way around. You need large amounts of land. You'd have to plant a a lot of crop, and if you're doing that, you can't grow food, you can't build on that. So either one is going to get you the 1 mark you need. Carrying on, D is low down reactivity, so that means it's not very active. Describe a method to obtain copper from copper oxide. So what we can do with this one is we mix the copper oxide with carbon. Carbon is higher up the reactivity series, so it will react with it. And then you heat the mixture. You heat the mixture together. And what you'll then see happening is that the copper will form. You only need 2 marks, so mixing it with copper and heating it is 1 mark for each of those 2 points.